What's good, YouTube? It's Jay here, and the Fusion event is finally live in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. We're going to be taking a brief look at the decks that you have available that you can kind of play around with, and the deck that I'm going to be using to play the event. I honestly didn't realize it was launching today, but it's pretty cool to see that it's finally here. So one of the first decks that they loan you is a very heavily focused Destiny Hero build with a small Vision Hero package. I honestly kind of wish this had Stratos in it because I mean, that would net you a lot of the cards that you kind of need to really get the Destiny Hero engine going. But you do get a lot of consistency cards like 3 Destiny Draw. You get some really nice power cards like Super Poly, Fusion Destiny, Destroyer, Phoenix and Force. I'm really tempted to see how this deck overall performs for the most part. I definitely think this is probably going to be one of the better of the 2 fusion decks, of the 3 fusion decks. Pretty much because it's probably a little bit easier to understand for the most part. I think it's a pretty straightforward build, and it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. As far as like the consistency is concerned, I think it's going to be consistent because of the Destiny draw, but you also do have 3 level 8 monsters in your main deck, which could be debatably, well, you know, bricky. But I think this is going to be a fun deck. Let's move on to Heart of the Sky. Heart of the Sky with Purse Clouds. Just Fluffals pretty much, literally just pure Fluffals. I've really never played a Fluffal deck IRL, so I don't know how this deck is going to function, but I do know Fluffals are mad consistent, especially with things like Pride for Patchwork and Egypt Chain. So they are giving you overall some very nice decks to kind of play around with. It's kind of funny thinking back to the Exceed event that we had a few weeks ago or a few months ago. Master Duel's already been out for 3 months, can you believe it? Some of the decks we had then were pretty terrible. They've really upped their game with these decks and made them a little bit more powerful, more fun to probably play around with and whatnot. It's a shame there isn't a loner only mode, because it'd be pretty cool just to play these decks, not have to really worry about too many of the crazy meta fusion decks. Not that there are a ton to begin with, but I digress. This is a pretty fun looking deck and I can't wait to try it out. In the next, we've got Pleasure Devouring Venom Dragon. What's funny is all these decks come from the fusion dimension of Arc 5, which is kind of nice. Look, man, I'm gonna just keep this one brief. I don't know how to pronounce like 80% of the names in this deck. I mean, it looks fun, it looks cool. Surprised you don't have more copies of this with this card, unless you only run it as a one of each. But the deck looks consistent. I think it's consistent. I don't really know how this deck works, but you have all your Starving Venom Dragons, your Supreme King Starving Venoms, your Starving Venomy Dragons, your Starving Venomy Lethal Dose Dragon, you know, your Drug Addict Dragons. Fun deck it looks like it's gonna be. I'm gonna try this one out too. I'm gonna be probably very confused on how it functions, but I look forward to it. Alrighty, and the deck that we're gonna be basically playing with is, well, literally the exact same thing we've been pretty much running, which is going to be our, well, Despia cards. I mean, the only thing we're missing is a solid additional fusion monster that we could probably throw in here. I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter. We only have 2 Quartus right now because I ended up getting rid of one for some extra points because I didn't need more than, well, 1 or 2 really. So as far as this build is concerned, I mean, we got a lot of options to play around with. We're gonna look for some level or some super rare fusion monsters that might be good for the deck. All right, I decided not to really waste any more super rare points. I mean, I think we're just going to throw a third or a second sprint, the Iron Dash Dragon into the deck. Let's take it for a whirl. Let's kind of see how this duel is going to go. We're going to do a bit of a live commentary. Alrighty, so I've had a chance to duel. I was originally doing some live commentary, but again, the main reason why I do not like doing live commentary is because the games take, well, they can take way too long, and one of the videos I had ended up stretching to about 44 minutes. So we'll just take a quick look at some of the duels we've had throughout the Fusion events so far. We've only had three, one lasting 3 turns, one lasting 2, and then the third one was actually a very unique and interesting back and forth interaction. It was one of those duels that made me really appreciate that side of Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, not being spammed with multiple omni-negate boards and 1,000 things that prevent you from basically playing the game. But for the first 2 duels, we basically fought against our, well, a fellow branded player. Branded seems to be, or Despia branded, whatever you want to call it. It seems to be the go-to for a lot of people for this event thus far. So I'm not surprised. I'm a little annoyed that unfortunately this is probably what we're only going to see. Granted, I'm using the same kind of deck. You know, but I hope the people out there that really came to this event to enjoy it are able to, well, enjoy it, because I think this is probably going to be the best deck, or the variants of this are going to be the best thing for this format. This guy was playing a Shadal variant of it. It was actually able to pull off some pretty unique combos. What I'm surprised he didn't do here, though, was summon El Shadal Winda. I feel like that would have been the better play, because some of these summons were, well, questionable. Like I said, this duel only lasted about 3 turns. So I'm not certain what the mindset was with these well, these plays, but we're able to pretty much combo off for the most part, risk free. We get our own copies of the field spell, paying American tax dollars to activate literally everything, pretty much. As annoying as this can be, we're gonna go ahead and fast forward a little bit. You know, we get our edge of chain, our polymerization and whatnot off, and we're able to fusion summon into the first Dark Lord, a 4K beater that basically can be targeted by card effects. So we're able to pretty much swing over both his back row and his Windy. He gets a Shadal Beast on the field over there. We use Dark Lord's effect to get an Oliver out. We're going to fusion summon, I believe, for a Mud Dragon, so he can't target any of our, well, you know, our dark monsters. Just to make sure that we're, you know, well, okay. So yeah, we can't be touched by card effects. None of our dark monsters can be touched by card effects. That Shadal Beast is going to attempt to draw 2. We're going to negate it with an Ash, get a search off of Oliver from the first Dark Lord. Shenanigans will occur. He's going to future summon with his Fallen of Albaz. But again, the effect of Despia and Quartz only affects, well, non-level 8 or non-fusion monsters. Yeah, or not anything that's under a level 8 and isn't a fusion monster. Well, you're boned pretty much. So we still have Dark Lord on the field. It's unaffected by that. It can't be targeted. He can't even use it in his Fallen of a Bass, you know, fusion summon. So that guy unfortunately took the fattest of L's. And I'll show you his deck build, because I know a lot of you guys are probably trying to find some kind of version of the decks to play. Yeah, don't really agree with it. I mean, I don't think I feel like if you're gonna run these kind of money cards, unless he only has one of each, you should probably run a 2 fusion destiny, 2 super poly while you can, since they're both at well, you know, 2. Destroy Phoenix's Forcer is a very powerful card to have, I think, especially for this fusion event, and it's won me some games single-handedly. Same with Brandon and Red. If you're gonna be playing this whole Despia bit, I think you at the most maybe run 2 of this. I just realized he's running the fusion spell at 3, or the field spell. I'll cut this down to 1 run, maybe 1 more of this. I just think this is way too many. All right, let's move on to the next duel. So this guy had a he had a build, he had a deck. It's a cool deck. It's a deck. I wasn't really fond of the ratios that were put into this build. But we're gonna fast forward this because nothing special really happens. He gets Jester out. He searches another branded opening, which, well, he just used branded opening to search branded opening, and he just pitched a Brandon in Red. We're gonna try to activate Fight for Patchwork. We're gonna potentially get Ash. We have luckily a Call Up by the Grave. Luckily the fusion gods are on our side with this duel. And, you know, that whole little interaction is gonna occur. So we'll get our polymerization, our Edge of Saber, you know, our Edge of Chain, the same old usual combination of Jester to the field spell. Super Poly was a bit of an early activation. I didn't really need to activate it, but we get a Masquerade Dragon out, and he sees that I'm probably just gonna do too much for him, because I could definitely get a second Masquerade Dragon out without a doubt. And well, you know, getting attacked by two 2500 attack point monsters, yeah, he would have only been able to activate 2 cards after that, with both of those Masquerades being on the field, you know, 1200 per card. So for the final duel, this is the duel that basically convinced me to, well, to not do a live commentary after all. Oh, let me show you this build really quick. Yeah, I don't know. Brandon in High Spirits is a useless card. You don't need 3 Ecclesia in this. I don't know why there's a Vision Hero Vi on here. 2 Dasher is, well, Insanity. That's Brick City. 2 Ad Libitum. Don't copy this deck. No disrespect to this guy, but, well, you're not going to win with that. Moving on to the third and final duel, this guy was actually using the Destiny Hero Fusion deck. So this duel lasted a while. Lots of thinking, lots of interactions, lots of back and forths, pretty much. I believe this guy, did I go first? Yeah, I went first. Nice. So, you know, the usual stuff. Branded. We ditch our 1 Branded opening to, you know, get our Oliver out. Oliver for our field spell into Masquerade. And I believe we set a Branded in red right after this. Or no, we go right into it, actually. We go into a second copy of Masquerade Dragon. I mean, you know, making our opponent pay 1200 per card effect is pretty nice. I should have activated Maxi right here, because this guy summoned Celestial, normal summoned it, and then activated Super Poly. When he normal summoned that Celestial, I thought in my head, I should have activated Maxi, like right on the spot. I knew he was going to do something crazy. But he gets Destiny Hero Dangerous out, beats over my defense position Masquerade Dragon for some reason. Couldn't tell you why, but if he took out the one that was in attack mode, it would have lost its, well, take 600 damage effects. I don't understand what the goal was here. He activates Dangerous's ability to send one from deck to grave, so, you know, in order to trigger this card, you have to send a Destiny Hero from deck to graveyard. We ash it. Then, well, he activates Necrofusion to combo off into Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. But the effective Dasher, I guess, doesn't activate because it's, well, banished? What's weird is he banished Dasher and Celestial. Unless I'm reading this card incorrectly. 1 level 6 or higher Destiny Hero or Hero Monster plus 1 Destiny Hero Monster. So why he banished that, I couldn't tell you, man. So I'm gonna lose that Masquerade, unfortunately. But again, I'm able to really just stay alive with it. And his Destroyer cannot attack because of Necrofusion. Unfortunately, he does not realize that with branded opening engrave, I can prevent a Despia card, or one of my fusion cards rather, from being destroyed by a card effect. So he tries to pop it, and well, you know, I keep it alive pretty much. Luckily, we draw into a Frightful Patchwork, get our Egypt Saber, or Egypt Chain. I never get that name right. Polymerization. We fuse off into a Dragos Stapelia. I questioned this move at first, but it actually kind of kept me alive for a hot second. I'm not gonna lie. He has another Celestial face down, and we're pretty much kind of boned from here. So I'm gonna force him to basically have all of his monsters negated from Dragos Stapelia's effect. He's gonna beat over me with that Dangerous, and then we take 2 direct attacks. Yeah, we're kind of in trouble right here. So now he chooses to use Celestial, draw 2, get a Decider back in his hand off of his own Decider's effect, which at the game state made sense, because I mean, you know, it's an additional body he probably could have used to finish me off in the, you know, in one of the turns. I don't know. It was a weird choice. I mean, he didn't really have too many other choices. We're gonna go into Quartus. Activate Quartus's effect, or we try to chain Tragedy into Edge Imp Chain. He activates Destroyer targeting our Quartus, and you know, we're gonna use Quartus's effect to basically make everything 0 attack. And then this bastard has the nerve to call by my Tragedy, which, you know, makes sense. It's a good play, but yeah, it sucked. So the chains are gonna pretty much all pop off. Branded Opening's gonna leave, save our Quartus once again. And all of his monsters are, well, currently sitting at 0 attack. And the only reason this affects Destroyer is because of the fact that these well, the Dragos Stapelia tokens are on the card, so they lose it. They go down to level 1. So Quartus immediately, well, he works for pretty much all the cards he had on his field. It's a nice combination. Yeah, this stays at a level 1, so whenever I activate Cortus's ability, it just works immediately. I bait out his pop. I wanted him to do this before he summoned any additional bodies on the field. It was the best decision I made. So he pops the Cortus finally. I kid you not, best decision I could have made. Because now with Cortus being popped, I'm immediately able to go into Fallen of Abaz. And since he popped the Cortus, he can't pop my Fallen of Abaz. This Despia guys, or whatever his name is, his effect isn't live since his attack points are, well, you know, normal. We go into Starving Venom. I didn't know if that was the right play or not, but it kept me alive. Had 5,600 meter on the board. It worked. I'm not complaining, man. We draw into a Branded in red, and I kid you not, I am literally thanking the gods right now. So we're actually gonna normal summon the Albaz instead of using Branded to fusion summon, and we'll fuse off his Dystopia. This was a mistake, purely because well, his Decider cannot be attacked by well, level 6 or higher monsters, I discovered. He defuses my Starving Venom and just pretty much passes turn right then and there. I didn't read this effect. I didn't realize. I was literally confused for a solid minute and a half as to why this wasn't working. But luckily we draw another Branded in red, and we're able to, well, just beat over his Decider. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It was a fun duel. This is the funnest duel I've probably had in a minute on this game, just because of the, you know, back and forth interactions. It's a different deck to play against. You know, it's nothing meta. I didn't really know what to fully, well, expect with it. It was fun. I had a good time with that deck. But yeah, those are some of the replays right there, man. I really enjoy playing with this deck. It's a lot of fun. Some of those duels had me questioning if I wanted to add a third, well, you know, Fallen of Abaz. I mean, that card came in pretty damn clutch for the most part. It was never a dull moment with that card, especially in that third duel. But I'm thinking about it, maybe, you know. Comedy is actually a bit of a debatable card. I honestly sometimes don't know if I want this card in my deck, but since it's kind of a negate, or it protects, you know, my Despian cards, it's kind of a necessity. Sometimes I really hate drawing that card, though. As far as things like Ash Blossom are concerned, or Maxi, I definitely might put a third one in there, because I'm trying out a bit of a smaller or a weirder build for the fusion event, rocking, you know, the Albion. And overall, I think we might put a third Maxi in here for the build. Like I said, I'm 50-50 on this build. Sometimes I love it, sometimes I hate it. It just depends on the day. But for the most part, it's really consistent. It's really fun. You know, okay, maybe consistent is a bit of an exaggeration. We have a couple of deadish hands here and there, but for the most part, we're pretty much able to recover from well, most situations. Like half of the deck is searching cards or quick play spells, and it can pop off, man. It's a damn good deck. I really like this deck a lot. And yeah, this is what I'm going to be using for the fusion event. Thank you for watching, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel, man. The Yu-Gi-Oh videos have been going crazy. Well, the Sword Soul ones haven't, but any videos I've made about Despian cards, top tier so far. They're doing really good. Again, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next one. Peace.